Start your day strong, because the first words you speak to yourself carry the power to shape your entire life. Before the world places a single demand on you, before pressure knocks on your door, before problems whisper their names, you must be the first voice that enters your own spirit. You must declare who you are, what you carry, and how you choose to show up. A strong morning is not an accident, it is a decision. A decision to rise with intention instead of drifting with distraction. A decision to lead your mind before it leads you. A decision to speak life into yourself so loudly that nothing outside of you can silence it. There are 9 things you must tell yourself every morning, 9 declarations that pull you into alignment with the strength you already have within you. The first thing you tell yourself is, I am built for this. You remind your spirit of the battles you've already won, the storms you've already survived, and the mountains you've already climbed. You are not standing here by accident. You're standing because strength didn't just visit you, it lives in you. The second thing you declare is, today, I choose purpose over pressure. Life will try to scatter you, distract you, divide your focus. But you get to decide what you honor. Purpose keeps you grounded when pressure tries to push you off your path. The third statement is, I will show up even when it's hard. Discipline is the backbone of destiny. Showing up is not about feeling ready, it's about being committed. Consistency doesn't ask how you feel, it asks if you're willing. You tell yourself next, I am not behind, I am becoming. You reject comparison. You release the idea that your timeline should look like anyone else's. Growth is happening even when it's not visible, and preparation is progress. You affirm, my peace is my power. Peace is not weakness, it's your weapon. It protects your clarity, your decisions, your emotional strength. When you protect your peace, you protect your purpose. You say with conviction, I will speak over my life, not against it. Your words are tools. They can build you or break you. So you choose to build, speak in hope, direction, confidence, and courage into every corner of your being. Then declare, I forgive quickly and release what weighs me down. You cannot walk into destiny dragging dead weight. Forgiveness is not about agreeing with what happened. It is about freeing yourself from carrying it. You tell yourself, I am a magnet for growth, opportunity, and alignment, not because of luck, but because of the intentional person you are becoming. You prepare yourself so thoroughly that when opportunity appears, you don't shrink, you step forward. And finally, you declare, today I will win an attitude in effort, in character. Winning isn't always loud. Sometimes winning is simply choosing to rise instead of retreat, choosing to move instead of freeze, choosing to believe instead of break. When you speak these words, you are not reciting phrases. You are constructing your inner architecture. You are placing strength in your foundation. You are setting the tone for how you walk, how you think, and how you respond. The world may throw challenges at you, but when your morning is strong, you become unshakable. When your declarations are powerful, you become unstoppable. When your inner dialogue is aligned, you become a force that life cannot bend and circumstances cannot break. Your day takes the shape of your first words, because the moment you wake up, your mind is at its most open, most impressionable, and most unguarded. Whatever you speak in those early moments doesn't just float into the air, it settles into your spirit. It becomes the atmosphere you walk into and the lens through which you interpret everything that follows. The morning is not just a time of day, it is a spiritual doorway. And what you say as you cross that doorway determines the weight you carry, the strength you stand on, and the perspective you hold. When you open your eyes, life hasn't started speaking yet. Problems haven't started knocking. People haven't started demanding. The noise hasn't had a chance to infiltrate your peace. But if you don't take command quickly, the world will. If you don't declare something powerful, something purposeful, something anchoring, then the first inconvenience, the first frustration, the first distraction will declare something for you, and those declarations are almost never in your favor. The world speaks anxiety, it speaks urgency, it speaks comparison, worry, negativity, and fear. If you don't speak strength into yourself first, you will begin your day reacting instead of ruling. Your words shape your emotional posture. If you say, I'm already tired, your body will follow that script. If you say, I can't do this today, your mind will build walls around your ability. If you say, nothing ever works for me, your spirit will slump under the weight of your own prophecy. But if you rise and say, this day will serve me, your energy shifts. If you say, I am capable and equipped, your mindset sharpens. If you say, something good is coming my way, your attitude begins scanning for opportunity instead of obstacles. The power is not in magic. It's in direction. Your first words give your mind a direction to run. They tell your emotions what to feel, your energy where to flow, and your focus what to look for. Just like a seed determines the nature of a harvest, your first words determine the nature of your day. You can't plant frustration in the morning and expect fulfillment in the afternoon. You can't plant fear at sunrise and expect confidence at noon. You can't plant defeat in your first thoughts and expect courage in your next steps. Your words are not empty vibrations. They are commands to your subconscious. They are instructions to your attitude. They are orders to your perspective. That's why some people carry discouragement for hours, not because their day was bad, but because their morning was mismanaged. That's why some walk into opportunities unprepared, not because they lack skill, but because they lacked morning direction. And that's why some people can face challenges without breaking. They gave themselves strength before life had the chance to weaken them. When you wake up and declare peace, you become harder to disturb. When you wake up and declare purpose, distractions lose their influence. When you wake up and declare gratitude, blessings become more visible. When you wake up and declare resilience, obstacles shrink before your determination. Your first words become a spiritual thermostat, setting the temperature for everything that enters your day. If you set it high with confidence, hope, and clarity, negativity enters but cannot stay. If you set it low with complaint, fear, and fatigue, even small problems feel overwhelming. This is why you must treat your first words with intention. You must speak with authority, not emotion. You must speak from vision, not circumstance. You must speak from identity, not insecurity. Your day is waiting on your command. The world is waiting on your direction. Your mind is waiting on your instruction. And whatever you speak first becomes the foundation on which everything else is built. Inner dialogue is inner architecture, because every thought you speak to yourself becomes a beam, a wall, a window, or a doorway in the structure of your identity. The same way an architect designs a building long before it stands, you design the framework of your life long before anyone sees it. You do it in quiet moments, in the thoughts you entertain, in the beliefs you reinforce, and in the words you whisper to your own soul long before you take a step. Your inner dialogue has already laid the blueprint for how far you believe you can go, what you believe you deserve, and how you respond when adversity comes knocking. Your inner world is not passive. It is constantly under construction. Thoughts shape attitudes, attitudes shape decisions, and decisions shape outcomes. When your inner dialogue is weak, confused, or filled with self-doubt, the structure you build cannot hold the weight of your potential. The moment pressure hits, the moment challenges arise, cracks begin to show. But when your inner dialogue is strong, affirming, disciplined, and intentional, you create a foundation that can withstand storms, setbacks, and seasons of uncertainty. This architecture is not built overnight. It is built brick by brick. Every time you tell yourself, I can handle this, you strengthen a support beam. Every time you say, I'm not giving up, you erect another wall. Every time you declare, I am worthy, you open a window for light to come in. And every time you refuse negative self-talk, you reinforce the structure so it can stand firm when life shakes you. Just like a building must be inspected for weaknesses, your thoughts must be examined. Some beliefs you carry were placed there long before you had the wisdom to question them. Some were inherited from voices that never understood your capacity. Some were shaped by moments of pain, disappointment, or failure. But you are not obligated to keep every beam in that old structure. You can remodel your mind. You can rebuild your belief system. You can redesign the internal environment that shapes your external experience. The truth is, you cannot outperform the architecture of your inner world. You may achieve momentary success, but if your inner dialogue tells you you're unworthy, you will self-sabotage. You may find yourself in powerful rooms, but if your inner voice whispers insecurity, you will shrink. You may carry dreams, but if your inner speech is filled with fear, you will hesitate when opportunity arrives. That is why your inner dialogue must be strengthened before your life expands. The foundation must match the future you're trying to build. Your inner dialogue is also your internal navigation system. It tells you what direction to take when choices appear, what to believe when doubts surface, and how to interpret what happens around you. If that navigation system is damaged, you will misread opportunities as threats, setbacks as endings, and challenges as signs you should quit. But when your inner architecture is solid, your mind interprets life differently. Obstacles become training grounds. Delays become preparation. Rejection becomes redirection. You begin to see life from a place of strength, not fragility. This architecture also determines what you attract. A strong inner structure draws instability, clarity, and growth. It makes you more deliberate in your relationships, more selective with your influences, more confident in your decisions. A weak structure attracts chaos, confusion, and cycles that repeat because the internal environment never changed. You are always building something inside you, whether intentionally or by default. The question is whether the architecture you're creating can hold the future you are praying for. Every time you speak to yourself with conviction, you raise the ceiling of your potential. Every time you speak with compassion, you heal a fractured piece of the foundation. Every time you speak with courage, you build another level onto the structure of who you're becoming. The world may only see your actions, but the architecture behind those actions is formed in secret in the quiet dialogue you carry within yourself. Self-belief is a daily decision, not a one-time event, because confidence doesn't stay alive on yesterday's motivation. It has to be fed, reinforced, and chosen over and over again. You don't wake up every morning with the same level of strength you had the day before. Life has a way of draining you. Doubt has a way of whispering in the background, and challenges have a way of nudging you off balance. That's why belief in yourself cannot be something you decide once in a season of clarity. It must be something you recommit to every single day. especially on the days when you feel least qualified, least prepared, or least confident. There are moments when you feel powerful. When your vision is sharp, your energy is high, and your steps are aligned. But there are also moments when fatigue steps in, when past failures echo louder than future possibilities, when the weight of expectations slows you down. On those days, it is easy to assume something is wrong with you, but nothing is wrong. This is simply proof that self-belief evaporates if it is not renewed. It leaks, it drains, it fades. And that's why your voice must be louder than your doubt. Your affirmation must be stronger than your fear. Your declaration must stand taller than your insecurity. Self-belief is not the absence of uncertainty. It is the decision to move forward despite uncertainty. It is the choice to look at the day and say, I'm still going. I'm still capable. I'm still becoming. Every accomplishment, every breakthrough, every transformation you admire in others was built on a series of repeated decisions to believe in themselves even when the evidence around them didn't fully agree. They chose belief in the dark before the light showed up. They chose belief in the process before the progress was visible. They chose belief in their voice before anyone else echoed it. You have to remind yourself that confidence is not something you stumble upon. It's something you practice. It's a discipline. It's a habit. It's a muscle. And like every muscle, if you don't work it, it weakens. If you don't train it, it softens. If you don't stretch it, it stiffens. Some days you will feel that strength naturally. Other days you will have to drag it out of yourself. But every day the decision is yours. Part of choosing self-belief daily is refusing to be defined by the version of you that existed yesterday. You may have made mistakes, lost opportunities, or hesitated when you should have moved. But self-belief says, I may not have done it perfectly yesterday, but I can do it differently today. It acknowledges the past without being imprisoned by it. It learns the lesson without repeating the limitation. It looks at failure and sees information, not identity. Another part of daily self-belief is protecting your inner environment. You cannot believe in yourself fully if you allow voices that diminish you to speak louder than the voice within you that wants to rise. You cannot hold on to confidence if you keep feeding yourself comparisons that strip you of your own uniqueness. You cannot grow belief if you surround yourself with environments that drain your courage. Belief must be nourished by what you read, what you hear, what you think, and who you allow near your spirit. Choosing self-belief daily doesn't mean you will always feel courageous. It means you will act with intention even when you feel uncertain. It means you will affirm your value even when circumstances try to shrink it. It means you will prioritize the vision of who you are becoming over the memory of who you used to be. It means you will refuse to bow to the pressure of perfection and instead commit to the progress of persistence. Self-belief is not a mountaintop you visit once. It is a ground you stand on every morning. A decision you renew before life has the chance to unravel it. It is a commitment to your potential, a loyalty to your growth, and a promise you keep with yourself long before the world sees the results. Discipline is the door to every destiny because nothing meaningful, nothing lasting, nothing powerful is ever built on convenience. Destiny is not reached by inspiration alone. It's reached by structure, consistency, and the daily choices you make when no one is watching. Discipline is the force that takes your dreams out of the clouds and plants them into the soil where they can grow roots. Without discipline, desire remains fantasy. With discipline, desire becomes reality. It is the bridge between intention and fulfillment, between potential and purpose, Between who you are and who you are capable of becoming, people often wait for motivation to move them, but motivation is seasonal. It rises and falls. Some days you feel ready to conquer mountains, and other days you struggle just to get out of bed. Discipline is what carries you through those days when motivation goes silent. It is the decision to show up even when your feelings tell you to quit. It is the commitment to the process even when the progress is invisible. It is the willingness to endure the discomfort of growth because you understand that destiny demands something from you, something deeper than inspiration, something stronger than emotion. Discipline is the daily honoring of your future self. It is saying, I will not sabotage what I am becoming for the sake of temporary comfort. Every time you practice discipline, you cast a vote for the version of yourself you want to live as. You reinforce the identity you are building. You strengthen the character that can sustain blessings, opportunities, and influence. Without discipline, success becomes a burden, because you will not have the structure to carry it. With discipline, success becomes sustainable because you have conditioned yourself to hold the weight of your own greatness. Destiny requires preparation, and preparation requires discipline. You cannot pray for open doors and refuse to train for what's on the other side. You cannot hope for elevation while maintaining habits that keep you grounded. You cannot expect growth while clinging to routines that shrink you. Discipline is the remodeling of your lifestyle so it can support the magnitude of your calling. It is the quiet labor, the repetition, the practice, the sacrifice that no one applauds, but everyone eventually sees the results of. When people admire the finished product, they rarely understand the disciplines that shaped it. Discipline is also a form of respect. Respect for your gifts, your purpose, your mind, and your potential. When you discipline yourself, you are telling your future that you value it enough to invest in it. You are telling your dreams that they matter. You are telling your life that you are not a passenger, but a participant in your own unfolding. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects your vision from your impulses. It protects your goals from your excuses. It protects your purpose from the chaos of inconsistency. There will always be temptations to take shortcuts, to do the bare minimum, to seek quick results without long-term effort. But discipline teaches you patience. It trains you to trust the process. It reminds you that anything that comes too quickly leaves just as quickly. When you build through discipline, you build with depth, strength, and durability. You build something that can survive pressure, criticism, delay, and adversity. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about choosing direction over distraction, progress over procrastination, purpose over pleasure, and long-term gain over short-term relief. It is the commitment to keep moving even when the pace is slow, because you understand that consistency compounds. Every day you honor discipline, the door to your destiny opens a little wider. Every small choice becomes a brick laid in the pathway to your purpose. Every moment of resistance strengthens the foundation of the life you are building. Peace is not passive, it's a powerful weapon, because true peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to remain centered, grounded, and clear-minded in the midst of it. Peace is strength wrapped in stillness. It is clarity wrapped in calm. It is authority wrapped in silence. People often misunderstand peace as something soft or fragile, something that exists only when everything around them is perfect. But real peace is forged in adversity. It is developed in storms. It is refined when everything around you gives you a reason to panic, but you choose not to surrender your inner equilibrium. Peace is not something that happens to you. It is something you defend, cultivate, and command. The world is loud, and noise is one of the most subtle weapons against your purpose. Noise creates confusion. Confusion creates hesitation. Hesitation creates stagnation, but peace cuts through the noise like a sharp blade, giving you the ability to think, decide, discern, and move with intention. Peace stabilizes you when circumstances try to shake you. It slows your breathing when anxiety tries to speed your thoughts. It grounds your emotions when life attempts to pull you in every direction. When you operate from a place of peace, your decisions become sharper, your perspective becomes clearer, your reactions become wiser. Peace protects you from rushing into situations that aren't aligned with your purpose, and it guards you from being manipulated by urgency that isn't yours to carry. Peace is also a form of power because it is the one thing chaos cannot control. Chaos thrives when you react emotionally. It thrives when you panic. It thrives when you lose your center. But peace disrupts chaos. It breaks its rhythm. It interrupts its influence. When chaos expects you to crumble and instead you remain calm, you disarm its power. When anxiety expects you to spiral and instead you remain steady, you weaken its hold. When negativity expects you to engage and instead you rise above it, you establish authority over your atmosphere. Peace is not weakness, it is mastery. The strength of peace also comes from the boundaries it empowers you to create. When you value peace, you become intentional about who and what you allow into your space. You stop entertaining conversations that drain you. You stop tolerating behaviors that destabilize you. You stop giving access to people who thrive on conflict. You begin to build a protective border around your mental and emotional health. This is not isolation, it is preservation. Peace is preserved by boundaries, and boundaries are a form of self-respect. Peace influences how you see the world and how you see yourself. When your mind is turbulent, everything feels like a threat. Small problems feel massive delays, feelings feel like attacks, opinions feel like attacks. But when you have peace, you can distinguish temporary discomfort from actual danger. You can separate emotion from truths. You can see situations for what they are, not what fear paints them to be. Peace sharpens discernment. It strengthens intuition. It guides you gently, but firmly toward decisions rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. Another reason peace is powerful is because it fuels endurance. When your inner world is calm, you can withstand storms that would break others. You can strategize in moments when others shut down. You can stay focused while others are overwhelmed. Peace is an anchor, and anchored people do not drift away from their purpose, no matter how strong the currents of life become. When you protect your peace, you protect your ability to stay committed, to stay clear, and to stay moving towards your destiny even when the path grows difficult. Peace also affects the energy you carry into rooms and relationships. People can feel when someone is grounded. They can sense when someone cannot be easily provoked or thrown off balance. Peace commands respect without raising its voice. It establishes influence without force. It shifts atmospheres simply by being present. And the more you cultivate it, the more you recognize that peace is not just a state of being. It is a strategic advantage. When you lead your morning, you lead your life, because the first moments of your day become the steering wheel for everything that follows. The morning is where your mindset is shaped, your energy is formed, your focus is chosen, and your spirit is aligned. Most people let their mornings happen to them, waking up, reacting, rushing, worrying, scrolling, or running from task to task without centering themselves. But the ones who rise with intention, with clarity, with purpose, and with discipline are the ones who move through life with stability and direction. How you begin determines how you continue. If the morning is chaotic, the day often mirrors that chaos. But when the morning is led with strength, the day falls into alignment with that strength. The morning is your reset button. The moment where yesterday's mistakes lose their grip and tomorrow's worries fade into the background. It is a fresh canvas on which you get to paint your tone, your attitude, and your emotional posture. If you take control of this moment, you take control of your inner world. But if you surrender this moment to distraction or disorder, you begin the day already defeated. Leading your morning is not about waking up early for the sake of being early. It is about waking up with ownership. It is about choosing your first thoughts before the world chooses them for you. It is about declaring your direction before life pulls you off course. When you lead your morning, you lead your mind. You decide what you will believe about yourself, what you will expect from your day, and what you will allow into your mental space. Without this leadership, your mind becomes vulnerable to anxiety, comparison, and pressure. But with leadership, your mind becomes focused, calm, and receptive to clarity. You build mental resilience before challenges appear. You build emotional strength before conflict arises. You build direction before distractions demand your attention. Leading your morning is leading your mental architecture. When you lead your morning, you lead your habits. Good habits grow best in the quiet of early hours. That is when discipline is easiest to practice because you are not yet pulled by 1,000 responsibilities. A morning routine, whether simple or structured, becomes the training ground for consistency. Small, repeated actions done in the morning become the foundation of your character. You show yourself that you can follow through. You show yourself that you can honor what you said you would do. You show yourself that your life is not being lived by accident, but by intention. When you lead your morning, you lead your emotions. The first emotions you allow into your day often multiply. If you begin with gratitude, your mind searches for more to appreciate. If you begin with worry, your mind searches for more things to fear. If you begin with peace, your spirit remains anchored. Emotional leadership begins before you leave your bed, through the thoughts you choose, the tone you set, the breathing you steady, the affirmations you speak, the silence you honor. You teach your emotions who is in charge. When you lead your morning, you lead your priorities. You decide what matters most before demands try to decide for you. You place your purpose at the top of your day rather than allowing business to bury it. You identify what needs attention and what needs to be ignored. You create space for progress instead of living on autopilot. When the morning is intentional, the rest of the day becomes intentional, and intentional living is where transformation happens. When you lead your morning, you lead your life because your life is built one day at a time, and every day begins with a morning. A led morning becomes a led day. A led day becomes a led week. A led week becomes a led season. And a led season becomes a led life.